Thank you. I rise also in opposition to this nomination. I think Senator Kissel hit on a lot of strong points. One of the things that I look at in my career here in the legislature, in the previous chamber, was when we would vote on a nomination of an individual that happened to be chair of that particular board or commission they may sit on. It's very much a vote on a reaffirmation of the direction that board or commission may be going. And what concerns me is looking at what we're seeing happening in the Board of Pardons and Paroles. As the good ranking member alluded to, we're seeing 70 plus individuals in a year or two period of time having their sentences commuted, when in previous years you'd have maybe a handful, maybe 11. I mean, that is an astronomical increase. And a lot of it is, individuals are alluding to, is based upon the policies that this particular chairman implemented a couple years ago. And so when we're voting here today, particularly as I mentioned, as the leader of this board, we're voting on the direction of this particular board. And the question that we as legislators, as senators, in my opinion, we have to answer is, do we support that direction, yes or no? And when, again, you're seeing 70 plus individuals having their sentences commuted in a period of time in which you'd have maybe 11 prior, that is not in the best interest of public safety, and most importantly, is not in the best interest of the victims and the victims' families. What has frustrated me over the years in this building, in the previous chamber that I would see, is this erosion of victims' rights and victims' voice that we've seen in the state of Connecticut. Not necessarily particularly to this board, but in bills in general. And when I speak with legislators on both sides of the aisle, I have a discussion about, well, that's wrong. The victims and the victims' family obviously should have a stronger voice. What we're seeing here is the apex, in my opinion, of the victims' rights and the victims' families' rights being eroded. When you have individuals that have committed murder and other violent crimes having their sentences commuted by 67 years, what is that saying to the victims and the victims' families? What is that possibly saying to them? And any individual that is running that particular board and is the leadership of that board, while that board is doing that, in my opinion, should not be renominated. We need to make it clear to victims in our state that we hear you, we care about you, and we're going to stand beside you. Because what they have to go through is unthinkable, as we know. Unfortunately, some of us here have been victims of crime. Some of us here have family members that have been victims of crime. So some individuals, unfortunately, know what it's like in the first-hand experience to have a family member be a victim or to be a victim themselves. And we have to look at that and understand how important it is to support those individuals. And frankly, by the direction this board has gone over the past 2 years and under the leadership of Mr. Giles, I would argue that we cannot vote for this renomination and say we stand with the victims at the same time. Because the operation of this board, in my opinion, has run completely contrary to standing beside the victims, listening to their voices, and supporting their voices. And what our vote today indicates, in my opinion, is where we stand on that issue. And for that, I urge my colleagues to join me in opposing this nomination. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Harding. Will you